everyone, and welcome to Using Better Drainage Design tool with InfoDrainage. My name is Juliana, and I work in marketing here at MicroCAD. And today's presenter is Tim Corey, our applications specialist. At today's webinar, we will contrast the features of SSA versus the new Autodesk offering InfoDrainage. Throughout the webinar, you can ask a question at any given point on the left-hand corner. You can ask Tim to revisit a step or ask any questions. This is your time, and we want you to make the most of it. And in the upper left-hand corner, you will find links to our social media and website. Also, please make sure to check our YouTube channel. We post all of our webinars there at the end, so you can share with colleagues or rewatch it on your own time. And without further ado, we'll pass it on to Tim. Hi, Tim.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending today. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you a few things. So here's a picture of me. I'm AEC specialist here at MicroCAD. Very well versed in Civil 3D and infra works, etc. So today we're talking about reasons why, whoops, I shouldn't have clicked, there we go. Reasons why you would replace your Autodesk Storm and Sanitary Analysis, which is drainage software that comes at no extra charge as part of your Civil 3D subscription or your AEC collection subscription, but why you would replace that with the Autodesk InfoVise, that's the name of the company that they acquired, InfoDrainage, would replace Storm and Sanitary. Okay, so a little bit about InfoVise. This is a company out of Portland, Oregon, and I guess it's been about a year or so ago, Autodesk acquired that company for the purpose of having more complete offerings, not only in drainage design, but also in storm and flood modeling, which is what's called InfoWorks ICM. We use a whole lot of acronyms here in this industry, apparently. ICN, Integrated Catchment Modeling. Okay, so that's storm and flood modeling. And then water distribution modeling, which is called InfoWater Pro. This is a software that runs inside ArcGIS. It's not AutoCAD based. It's not standalone, just on your Windows computer. So you do need ArcGIS subscription for that to run InfoWater Pro. And then water infrastructure asset management is called InfoWorks WS Pro. WS standing for water systems. And that's something that like a municipality that owns facilities would use to keep track of their water infrastructure. Okay, and you see here, this the acquisition, from what I've been told, was around $1 billion. So this is not just some small fly-by-night software company. InfoVise has been around a long time. They really lead their market. And they have other products besides what we're selling through Autodesk. Okay. So what's the purpose today? Well, it's to show you, really contrast what you can do with storm and sanitary analysis versus what you can do with sustainable green design using InfoDrainage. Okay, this particular slide really just is to show some of the things we're trying to get away from in drainage design is this whole idea of having leaves and yard scraps and things like that being pushed down our gutters and channels and then getting caught on drains, right? Okay. Let's back up to storm and sanitary. What is storm and sanitary analysis? Okay, this is from Autodesk. Comprehensive hydrology and hydraulic analysis. So this will answer the numbers basically. This will give you drainage calculations that you need, but this is what's considered hard engineering. Okay. Hard engineering meaning that we have impervious gutters going into impervious manhole structures or storm drain inlets, running through impervious pipes, and then into some stream or etc. Green design is what is often called soft engineering, and this is where InfoDrainage comes in. And you can see there in the soft engineering idea, they're going to use soil as a filtration device. They're also going to use plants to help remove pollutants from drainage. And the whole idea is to collect those pollutants in the soft engineering area into the soil and the plants to keep them from running out to our public waterways. Okay, here's an example. Whoops, shouldn't have done that. Go back. Okay, this is an example of a sustainable or green design where they have, certain types of soils in here with stones, etc. We still use some hard engineering components in a sustainable design. Okay, but what we're able to do is we can do the regular hard engineering here, but we can also then add different stormwater controls that are green design. Things like swales, different chambers, infiltration trenches, ponds, etc. Okay, so all these stormwater controls are green design, and these are available in InfoDrainage. Okay, so here's the comparison chart on the list of features. What does InfoDrainage do that storm and sanitary analysis does not? Well, they can both do traditional drainage with impervious structures and things like that. But when you add permeable drainage into this, start calling it green sustainable drainage, that's where InfoDrainage comes in. Okay. Now we talk about hydraulics, running our drainage through pipes, etc. Well, the current EPA SWMM engine includes particulate removal and other green design calculations that have been added to the EPA SWMM. So even though storm and sanitary analysis will use SWMM 5, it only takes advantage of those features that it supports, right? So impervious surfaces, basically, and structures. So any of the more modern features that are in the EPA SWMM engine are basically ignored by SSA. So it can use the latest version, but it can't use all the features available in that. Okay, they talk about ability to do your hydrology calculations, and you can use a separate hydrology method for your catchments than you do for your overland flows if you want. Okay, so that's available with InfoDrainage. Commonly used hydrology methods, SCS, etc., are in both softwares, but then InfoDrainage has additional hydrology methods. And then they have a feature called Deluge. And what this does is this shows a map that helps you identify natural flow paths in your site. Okay, so that's a feature only of InfoDrainage, not of SSA or Storm and Sanitary Analysis. I'll try not to use acronyms if possible. Okay, and then there's some automated design that you can do. Okay, now we get down into Civil 3D interoperability. I would imagine this is what many of you are very interested in. Okay, so we can import from Civil 3D in both softwares, but InfoDrainage has round trip to and from Civil 3D. So if I go and make my changes in InfoDrainage, I update my design based on analysis I do, well, then I can send that back to Civil 3D. Okay. Drainage design standards, drainage standards validation. So you can validate your design against your local engineering standards. We have high quality 3D representation of your drainage structures. Then they talk about the user interface, traditional menus and toolbars. In other words, the old style menus and toolbars are in SSA. New modern ribbon menus, like we use in AutoCAD, are what you'll find in InfoDrainage. So talking about this sustainable design and, you know, what we're trying to do with green design, what's the goal? Well, often that goal is to let water come into our structure, but have a reduced outflow. So we don't want to take 100% of the inflow into our drainage design and send that 100% of the water back out. And I want to show this comparative report. I need to zoom in on that to do that. I want to just let you read this a little bit here. This really hit home for me with what you're going after, you know, so it's doing a comparative report of the existing conditions against our completed design, okay? This is a 15-minute storm, summer storm. So the maximum inflow in liters per second in existing is this number. With our completed design, we're allowing for 414.6 liters per second. Here's the volume in cubic meters, the total inflow. Then here's our maximum outflow. So we're taking that total inflow and we're spreading that out into our green sustainable design features, whether that's a rain garden or a new pond, a filtration trench, etc. Okay, and then we get the total discharge at the end. Okay, here's that 100%, the existing 100% of what comes in is going out. But with the green sustainable design, we're bringing in 375 cubic meters, but only discharging 125 cubic meters. So that's going to be less likely to have flooding, less likely to have clogged drains and things like that, right? And this rest of this chart just goes on and shows you the different return periods. Here's 30 years, 60 minutes in the summer, and it, you know, shows total inflow of 608, etc. Okay. Okay. Some of the green drainage infrastructure that you can add and have calculated automatically with InfoDrainage are of course, ponds, which you can do ponds with storm and sanitary analysis also. But then here's an example of a filtration trench. Okay. And here's a rain garden. Oh, too far. Okay. And this is some info that I think many of you will be interested in is what's the workflow to move from Civil 3D over to InfoDrainage. What I'm going to do is escape back out. Let's go ahead and open Civil 3D. Here I have a completed design. So I have some surface models existing. There's an FG is this area here. Got a pipe network called Storm. Okay, and there's pipes and structures. You're all familiar with this sort of stuff. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to take this over to InfoDrainage, right? All these names confuse me. InfoWorks, InfoDrainage. We'll get them straight though, I promise. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we have what's called InfoDrainage Ultimate installed. This is the version that has the Civil 3D component. So you'll notice here on my ribbon, I have an InfoDrainage ribbon tab. Okay. Over here, first thing I would want to do is set up my part mapping. So this is where I can tell it, okay, the Civil 3D part is called such and such. Well, this is the size I want you to use in InfoDrainage. Okay, so here's my connection mappings for pipes. Okay. And then I can tell it what is that in Civil 3D. Okay, now I've saved my mappings. So I'm going to open a mappings file. Okay. This is a 15-inch. That's an 18. Okay, so you set up your mappings, all right, and then go to the junction mapping, and this is for your manholes now. Okay, so I have a circular manhole, 0.381 meters diameter. Tell it what the object type is in Civil 3D, the size. Okay, that's a 15. Yep. Okay, so you set all that up, and then you can save your mapping, your part mapping. Now these two options here are the export to InfoDrainage. And I'll tell it what file to create. So this is creating the file for the pipes and the structures basically here. Do I want to send that network? Now I find I get better results not sending a surface now, but doing a land XML export. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, so we're going to export, and it's going to have that storm network as part of the export. Okay, here's my mapping again. I should be able to open that mapping. I wasn't trying to save it, I was trying to open it. It's interesting. It did that to me last time too. Well, I'll just do it again. 15. $18. Okay. Junction. Now you got to be careful with this and watch these columns. Notice here it says diameter/length in feet. So I've got a 15-inch diameter cylindrical structure. Well, that's 1 1/4 feet. So if I said 15 there, it would think 15-foot circular. That'd hold a lot of water for sure. So just make sure you watch these column headings here. Okay, so all this is set. Now I can just say finish. So it has exported a MicroDrainage specific file now. Not MicroDrainage, InfoDrainage. MicroDrainage is the old name of a previous drainage software by Innovise. Okay. So I'm going to go open. Here's export example. And it brings it in. It shows me that network. Okay. Now what I would do is I would export the surface model. So I'm going to do, I want to send existing site. That's the whole site instead of just this little area here that's well below where the pipes are. So let's take this site, export land XML. And this will be existing site surface. Then over here in InfoDrainage, I can go to import surface data, land XML, like that. Okay. That looks good. I could save the surface already calculated if I wanted. So it makes it a little faster to load next time I load in InfoWorks, InfoDrainage. Okay. So this is going to be InfoDrainage surface. Okay, so instead of loading the land XML every time, it can load its own proprietary format, which is somewhat faster. Okay, so I'm ready to say okay to that. Now I just have to check the box here to show that I have the surface turned on. And there's different components of surfaces. You can see the contours there. I can turn those off. Surface color fill, the legend you see up there. And then you can do a 3D view. Now the last component that you'll want to bring in from Civil 3D is the actual drawing file. You may want these alignments and parcels and other information to kind of underlay your InfoDrainage project, right? So I can go here, here in InfoDrainage, under import, go to CAD data, and you can just go pick your drawing file. I should probably have that closed so Civil 3D doesn't lock it. And then you have that drawing then shows up as a backdrop here in InfoDrainage. Okay. Now you can also import data back into Civil 3D. So if you go in and do your design, you can import that back in directly from InfoDrainage. That's this. Okay. Now I also want to show you a little bit. They have tutorials built in. Oh, unable to create license. So there's a number of tutorials that take you through the different functions that you need in order to use the software and do analysis, etc. Okay. Yeah, see, when you run the analysis, it's going to tell you any errors you have. Okay, like here, downstream invert level is below base level of downstream item. Okay. Don't need to keep those. And back to this. Okay, so these are the whoops, didn't mean to go that far. Okay, so this is the workflow you would use, is do your layout of the pipes and manholes in Civil 3D using your regular pipe networks, your pipe network parts that you're used to creating your parts lists, etc. Okay. And then export that to InfoDrainage. Whoops, one button too fast. Okay. Then within InfoDrainage, design and size the pipes and manholes, and then put in your green infrastructure devices, complete your analysis, and then bring that back into Civil 3D so that you'll have your completed site design in a single location. Okay, so thank you very much for attending. We appreciate you spending the time this morning to take a look into InfoDrainage and compare that to what it can do compared to what you can do now with storm and sanitary analysis. And hopefully having this software is going to help you get more work, right? Because municipalities nowadays that are hiring for design, they're not really allowing as much hard design as previously. They want green, sustainable design. Here in my town, I'm in Northern California, they just opened a new Costco recently, and I went over and I was in their parking lot, and first thing I noticed was some green, sustainable design, kind of a rain garden that they had there in the parking lot, where if you went back to the old Costco parking lot, it was nothing but pavement and storm drain inlets. Okay. There were no places where runoff would go into an area where there were plants, et cetera, but now there is. And that's really showing what's going on in the industry and really in the world, et cetera. So
Absolutely.
that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tim. We have a little question here. We are an approving authority. What does this mean for our submissions?
I didn't understand the question.
I don't know. It says we are an approving authority. What does this means for our submissions? I think in short, easy reviews. InfoDrainage was created with approving authorities in mind and includes a host of functionality created to help streamline design, review workflows, and to better analyze solutions. I think maybe that was what he was asking.
That sounds right. And that is the answer directly from Autodesk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if there are not any questions, I want to remind everybody that um, that if you want to learn these topics in detail or any other Autodesk software, you can always take a custom training with Tim or someone else on our team. We also offer group classes online. So yeah, be sure to be checking the MicroCAD website for future webinars. And this concludes our webinar today. Thank you, Tim, for that wonderful presentation.
My pleasure.
And,
Thank you.
and thank you everyone for attending. Have a great day.